Last train of the night, doors closing. The station felt quieter than usual, like the city was finally running out of things to say. People sat scattered across empty seats, lost in headphones, phone screens, and private worlds. And you walked in just before the doors closed and sat across from me like it was nothing. Funny how ordinary moments become unforgettable. The last train home, carrying strangers through the dark. The last train home, and somehow you stood out among 1,000 faces. The last train home, where a story started without either of us knowing. Yeah. You looked exhausted, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. A book rested in your hands, but you barely turned the pages, mostly staring out the window, watching city lights blur into long rivers of color. And somehow I couldn't stop noticing. Maybe that's weird, maybe that's life. Some people walk past and disappear overnight. Others leave a mark without saying a word, without an introduction, without being heard. Just one glance, one passing scene, and suddenly they're everywhere in your memory. The train rattled forward, the city drifted by. The last train home. I never spoke a word, but something about that night stayed with me long after the station disappeared. "12:14 a.m. the next night." Yeah, I wasn't looking for you, at least that's what I said, as I walked down platform 7 again. The station buzzed softly, announcements echoed overhead. Trains arrived, people disappeared, but my eyes kept searching the crowd for someone I barely knew. Sometimes curiosity disguises itself as routine. Platform 7, where I started waiting. Platform 7, for a stranger with no name. Platform 7, the city kept moving, but part of me stayed here, watching every train arrive. Yeah. Then there you were, standing near the yellow line. Same jacket, same book, same distant look. And somehow seeing you again felt more important than it should have. A city this big should make coincidence impossible. Millions of lives crossing invisible lines. Yeah, here you were again tonight, like the universe forgot to separate our paths. The train lights appeared in the distance. Platform 7, maybe this wasn't random. Platform 7, maybe this wasn't random. Platform 7, maybe this wasn't random. Maybe some stories start slowly. "12:37 a.m. Third night. noticed something strange, you always chose the same seat, second carriage, window side, near the back. Like you had your own routine, your own ritual for surviving long days. And somehow I started building mine around yours. Same seat every night, same city passing by, same train tracks singing underneath the wheels. Same seat every night, and every night you felt a little less like a stranger. Yeah. The city outside changed constantly. Rain one night, clear skies the next. But inside that carriage, some things stayed the same, including you. And somehow that consistency felt comforting. Life changes fast, people come and go, jobs change, friends move, dreams evolve. But every now and then something remains, and for reasons unknown you became one of those things. The train entered a tunnel, everything went dark. For a moment, same seat every night. And maybe that's why I started looking forward to tomorrow. Rain outside, the windows blurred, turning city lights into watercolor paintings. The carriage felt smaller tonight, quieter somehow. Only a handful of passengers scattered through the rows, and you still across from me, close enough to notice, far enough to remain a mystery. The distance wasn't measured in seats. Across the carriage, 1,000 unsaid words. Across the carriage, 100 conversations. Across the carriage, the shortest distance somehow felt impossible to cross. I rehearsed introductions inside my head, every version sounding awkward, every version ending differently. Yet every version ended with us talking instead of silence. Yeah, funny how fear works, makes mountains from moments, builds walls from nothing, turns simple things complicated. It's just a conversation, just a hello. Yet somehow it felt bigger than that. The train slowed gently, approaching another station. Across the carriage, stranger, still forgettable. Rain outside, closest I ever got. Your stop arrived unexpectedly. You stood up, closed your book and walked toward the doors. For some reason my heart started racing, like this was now or never. Like the city was giving me one chance and down. Almost said hello, almost crossed the distance, almost became part of your story. Almost said hello, but hesitation won again. The train kept moving without me. You stepped onto the platform, turned around briefly, and for a second our eyes met. Then the doors closed, the train pulled away, and you disappeared into the night. 1 second too careful, 1 second too late. Funny how small moments can feel tied to fate. Everybody got a memory that still follows them around, a moment they replay when nobody's around. The city lights faded into darkness. Almost said hello, and I didn't know then how much I regret it. Platform 7, something felt wrong. The train arrived on time. The doors opened slowly. People stepped inside, just like every other night. The same announcements, the same station lights, the same city breathing above our heads. But your seat was empty, window side. Second carriage near the back, and somehow that changed everything. Funny how absence can be louder than presence. Missing tonight, like a song without a melody. Missing tonight, like a city missing its lights. Missing tonight, the train kept moving, but something stayed behind when you didn't arrive. I told myself it didn't matter. People miss trains, people change plans, people have lives outside our imagination. Yet every station passed without you appearing made the silence heavier than before. Never knew your name, never knew your story, never heard your voice, never shared your worries. Yet somehow an empty seat could make a crowded train feel incomplete. Guess we don't choose what becomes important. Sometimes a stranger changes everything without even knowing. The city blurred outside, but I barely noticed. Missing tonight, and suddenly I realized. Missing tonight, this wasn't curiosity anymore. "12:21 a.m. 3 nights later." The seat remained empty, like it was waiting to. The reflection in the glass only showed city lights now. No book, no jacket, no familiar silhouette. Just tunnels, stations, and unanswered questions. Hope is stubborn, sometimes too stubborn. Empty window, showing me everything noticing things I never saw before. The way the train swayed, the tired faces, the late night workers, the students half asleep. Maybe I'd spent so long looking at one person, I forgot to see everyone else. Yeah. Funny thing about searching, and that was your vision. Turns one face into a mission, but life keeps moving all around the frame while you're focused on a single name. Or in my case, a stranger still unknown, trying to understand why their absence feels like home. Rain taps softly against the glass. Empty window. Maybe the city misses you too. Another ride, another ride. The train rushed forward through sleeping neighborhoods, past apartment towers, past convenience stores, past intersections glowing red and yellow, like the city was blinking slowly, trying not to fall asleep. Everything moved except my thoughts. The city never stopped, neither did the question. City in motion while I'm standing still. City in motion, trying to outrun what I feel. City in motion, 1,000 stories crossing paths, and somehow I'm stuck on one. Maybe you moved away, maybe your schedule changed, maybe you're riding a different line now. Maybe you're completely unaware, someone still looks for your reflection every night across the carriage. The hardest part ain't the goodbye, it's never getting one, never understanding why. Just one day here, one day gone, and suddenly you're left trying to move on without a reason, without closure, without knowing if the story's over. The train emerged from another tunnel. City in motion, teach me how to keep moving too. I finally asked. There was an older conductor who worked the late routes, the kind of person who notices everything one night while handing over my ticket. I asked a question I've been carrying for weeks. Do you remember someone who used to ride this train? He smiled slightly, like he already knew. Where did you go? That's all I wanted to know. Where did you go? Why did the story stop without warning? Where did you go? And why does it still matter after all this time? The conductor thought for a moment, then nodded slowly. I remember 3 simple words, and suddenly my heart started racing again for the first time in weeks. Yeah, funny how
how hope returns without permission. You spend weeks trying to bury your feeling, and one small clue, one simple sign brings everything back to life. Guess that's the danger of unfinished stories. They keep finding ways to continue. The train slowed, approaching the next station. Where did you go? And why do I feel like the answer is finally close? Central Station, rain falling. The conductor pointed toward a station map, then toward a name I hadn't noticed before, a smaller stop near the edge of the city, a place the train rarely reached, at least not anymore. And suddenly, the mystery had direction. For the first time, the search felt real. Rain at Central Station, falling like unanswered questions. Rain at Central Station, washing old doubts away. Rain at Central Station. Maybe every story leaves clues for those willing to follow. I stood beneath the roof, watching trains arrive, watching strangers leave, watching possibilities form. The rain turned station lights into rivers of gold, and somewhere inside, hope returned quietly. Not chasing a fantasy, not chasing a dream, just following a thread to see where it's been. Maybe the answer's small, maybe the answer's big, maybe nothing changes, maybe everything did. Either way, I couldn't stay still. Some roads begin with a simple clue. The last train arrived through the rain. Rain at Central Station. Tomorrow I'll follow the trail, and maybe for the first time, the distance between us will start getting smaller. Central Station. 2 a.m. End of the line. 2 a.m. The station looked forgotten, like the city left it behind. One platform, one waiting bench, one flickering light, and silence, the kind of silence you only hear after midnight. I stepped off the train, holding questions I couldn't carry anymore. Some journeys get quieter before the answer. The small station at the edge of the city lights. The small station where hope arrived before sunrise. The small station
after all. I walk past those schedules, faded advertisements, empty tracks disappearing into darkness. Then I saw something written on a notice board, a familiar handwriting, the same handwriting from the note months ago. Heart started racing, mind moving fast, trying to connect pieces of the past. Every clue, every late night ride, every question that stayed alive suddenly felt closer than before, like fate had finally unlocked the door. The wind moves softly across the platform. The small station, the small station. Maybe this story was never lost, just waited till 2 a.m. One final clue. The station manager smiled when I asked your name, then disappeared briefly into a back room, returning with a book worn around the edges. A bookmark still inside. He said, "You never came back for this." And somehow I knew immediately it belonged to you. Funny how objects can carry memories. The book you left behind, holding pieces of your story. The book you left behind, like a message waiting quietly. The book you left behind, leading me closer than I ever expected. Inside the cover, a handwritten note, simple and honest. Last train home every night until things get better. I read it twice, then 3 times, trying to understand the way behind those words. Everybody fighting battles nobody can see, carrying storms behind normal routines. Maybe that's why you always look distant, not because you were cold, just because life was heavy. And suddenly you felt real, not a mystery, not an idea, just human. Rain touched the windows outside the office. The book you left behind, turned a stranger into someone I understood. The next night, I returned to the station without expectations, without assumptions, without rehearsed conversations, just curiosity and maybe hope waiting quietly beside it. Then the train arrived and everything changed. Some moments choose their own timing. One platform away, after all these months. One platform away from the answer I chased. One platform away, and suddenly the
distance disappears.
You stepped onto the platform, looking exactly the same and completely different at the same time. A little stronger, a little lighter, like someone who survived something difficult and finally found sunlight again. Couldn't believe it for a second there, thought maybe the city was playing unfair. But you smiled first and everything became clear, the kind of smile that dissolves fear. Months of wondering gone in a breath, replaced by reality standing there instead.
The station lights glowed softly above us, one platform away. And somehow it felt like coming home.
It's 3:21 a.m. No train to catch.
We talked for hours, sitting on an old bench, watching empty tracks stretch into darkness. The city felt distant for the first time, like nothing existed outside that station except conversation and time. Some people feel familiar before you truly know them. Until morning, we traded stories. Until morning, the silence finally ended. Until morning, two strangers became something more than memories.
Yeah. You told me about hard months, unexpected losses, dreams delayed, plans rewritten. And suddenly everything made sense. Why you disappeared, why the train rides ended, why your eyes always look tired. Life gets messy, life gets rough. Sometimes surviving is more than enough. And hearing your story changed the way I saw mine. Made every unanswered question feel worth the time. Because behind every mystery there's a human heart trying its best from the start.
The horizon slowly brightened until morning. The city waited for us while we found our way back. First light, first light, first light, first light. The sky turned gold above the tracks. Morning arriving quietly, like it didn't want to interrupt the moment. The station looked different now, less lonely, less forgotten, almost beautiful in the sunrise. Maybe nothing changed except perspective. Maybe it isn't a place, home. Maybe it's a feeling, home. Maybe it's finding someone who understands your silence, home. After all this time,
the first train of the morning pulled in to the station. Passengers stepped aboard, beginning new journeys, while ours was only just starting. Not perfect, not guaranteed, just real, and somehow that was enough. Spent so many nights looking through windows, watching city lights and chasing shadows. Never knew the answer would be this simple. Two people meeting at the right time finally. Now